It is true, we are all doing life, but who knew life could be this funny? It's Doing Life with Maria and Chad, our podcast.
And we've all been misled. It's all lies. There is no secret menu at Starbucks. Did you think there was, Maria?
Yes, of course I did.
Everybody talks about a secret menu. There is no secret menu. I have some insights from the baristas that could actually earn you free coffee from Starbucks. These secrets are on the way on our podcast today. Let's start today by thanking everyone that has been listening to the podcast, people that have been, well, this is something that we would love for you to do. If you're listening, you like the podcast, share it on your social media, Facebook, whatever you got, Twitter, so that your friends can find out about it. We're growing rapidly. We have a ton of people listening, and when you look at all the statistics on YouTube and on all the different Spotify, etc., you can see that a lot of people are listening, but it'd be great if you would tell your friends. How do they say it? Tell a friend? What's the secret word?
Well, if they tell two friends, and then they tell two friends, and then they tell two friends, before you know it, we'll have a bazillion listeners.
It's kind of like the coronavirus, but better. We want it to spread. Please cough our podcast onto other people. Thank you. And I mean, it's kind of interesting. My buddy Mike has been driving to his office in Tampa, Florida, and he will call me after he hears an episode. And he was listening the other day to the story I was telling you about the dog collar that I lost. Oh yeah. My cousin Mark, actually, he listens in Milwaukee, in Wauwatosa, and he texted me and he said, let me find my little notes here. He said, tell Chad the magnet you guys were talking about is called rare earth magnets. And we'll get to the dog collar story in a second, but basically these rare earth magnets are on a big string and you can throw them into a lake and they magnetize whatever's metal down there and brings it to the surface. So, well, if that was kind of fun. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see a picture that I took because I have a dog collar fishing update for the podcast today. Let me journey back to yesterday. I picked my daughter up from school and journey with me. I tried to talk her into helping me. And if I am to quote her, she said, "This is impossible. I want no part of it." Because she saw me fail the first time. Wow. And did not want to go back to the dog park with me with my new fandangled idea, which you can see now on YouTube. I had a tie-down strap, like when you're tying stuff in the back of a truck. There's a big hook on it. And then I took fishing... Like a bungee cord? A bungee cord? It's like it doesn't stretch, but yeah, it's like a bungee cord thing. Okay. And you can clamp it down. But on the end of that, I took fishing line that I had to cut off of a fishing pole, because who has fishing line? I haven't fished in years. And then I took my wife's grandfather's tackle box out to find a hook with 3 prongs on it so that I could go back and try to, get this dog collar that had fallen about 7 feet down into this square column that is at the dog park that we take our dog to. So if you're looking at the picture, there's about 1.5 inch opening at the top. And so I'm trying to get this dog collar back because it's worth $30. Right. I go there, haul my ladder so I can get access to this hole. I'm a weird guy with a ladder going into the dog park. Nobody's there, thankfully, because it's still warm in the afternoon. And I get all set up and I'm looking and I'm like, I'm really doubtful that it's going to happen. And I was right. It was very tough. I would put it down one time, pulled it out, nothing. Second time I put it down, and it got stuck on some cement that had spilled on the inside of this column. The third time, I actually heard like a clink, down below. And so I'm using my cell phone light so I can kind of see down in this dark. It's about 7 feet down. And I'm pulling it up, and I can see that it's moving. But I still had to get past these cement. It's like, it's like the claw game at restaurants and stuff. As I pull it up, I had the dog collar on the hook and I now have the dog collar back. Yes! Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. I'm telling you, it made my day. It may have made my week. Not because, I mean, $30 is $30, but just the fact that my daughter said it was impossible. It really, I don't think I could do it again. I got super lucky. I pulled the thing up and then I set it down and I'm like, I will never put anything up there again. But again, I was alone. So there's a little video that I'm going to put on social media that I shot after, because I was like a little kid. I was so giddy that I got the stupid dog collar back.
Well, what I didn't understand or what I didn't know was that the opening was only like 1.5 inches.
Yeah, and that's the crazy. Well, and it gets narrow in parts because if you can imagine, like cement had dried up on the inside when they laid this brick. So there were parts I had to like
the mortar stuff in between. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to kind of like dodge around that to get the collar. I honestly still can't believe that I got it back. So there is success in the dog collar fishing update today.
Well, you actually have inspired me because I haven't taken my dog Olive to the dog park in, I can't even remember the last time, probably since she was a puppy, and she's 12 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided this morning, the weather was nice. I walked her to the unofficial neighborhood dog park. It's not a real dog park. And we walk in there and I let her off the leash and she's kind of running around and sniffing, and she goes, sees this dog and find out the dog's name is Anna. Anna is 13 years old.
Of course.
And the woman says, there's some of my friends, their dogs are coming too. I'm like, okay. So I go for a little walk, take Olive running around. She plays with a puppy. Everything's good. I come back and I had to write down the names that I remembered.
Okay.
The woman said it's basically the geriatric dog park area because Anna was 13.
Yeah.
Bandit is 11. And there was another dog, I think it was Chico or Chachi, or I can't remember that dog's name, 13 as well. And then Olive is 12. And they're looking at Olive and they're like, she's not 12 years old. I'm like, she is, because Olive is pretty spry and she's thin. She looks good.
Right.
And they're like, well, maybe it's because she's blonde. All her gray is hidden. She doesn't have gray hair like the other dogs do. I'm like, well, she's got that going for her. Better than me. I need to get my gray fixed. But I just thought it was really cute that it was the geriatric dog park area. And Olive was very well behaved. I was excited because sometimes she's not. And the humans invited Olive and I back another day. So I thought that was kind of nice. So
I guess when I picture geriatric dog park, they all just like lay under a tree and look around. Like, were they actually active?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well,
Anna just kind of laid down,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know what kind of dog she is, but she's funny. When she barks, her front end comes up. Roof! Roof! I mean, it's just freaking hilarious. Bandit was like this kind of overweight Chihuahua looking thing. He kind of walked around a little bit, but the other two dogs just kind of hung out. I'm like, well, you're not really getting the dog exercise. And Anna's human drove her to the dog park. I actually walked to the dog park.
Well, it's good, especially at their age. The tough thing with our puppy going is I don't want her to learn bad habits from other dogs. You know what I mean? The jumping up, and we're trying to train her not to do that. And you go to a dog park and it's the free for all because they're puppies and they're going crazy.
Well, yeah, Jack was the puppy that Olive met, and Jack was puppy and totally attacking Olive. And Olive's like, yeah, you're kind of bugging me, and kind of scaring her a little bit. Her tail was between her legs. Olive's tail was between her legs. But the damn puppy was so cute. I'm like, Olive, let's play with the puppy. And she's like, yeah, no. Let's go back to the geriatric area.
What's this fashion advice that Eric's been giving you? What's that all about?
Oh, yeah. So let me preface this by saying I dress kind of weird. My daughter hates the way I dress. She hated the way I dressed her when she was a baby. She saw pictures. If I buy Eric something, he always hates it, like clothes-wise. He always returns it.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy, my daughter Lucy, on the other hand, 99% of the time, if she buys something for Eric, he loves it. And I'm like, you just love it because it's from your kid. And he's like, no, I really like it. So I'm getting ready for the podcast today. He knocks on the door and he goes, does this go together? I'm like, what? And he had on like these light blue pants, and it was a gray shirt that had little surfboards on it, and one of the surfboards was light blue like his pants. I'm like, well, yeah, that's fine. And I go, but why are you asking me fashion advice? Why not take a picture, send it to your daughter, because apparently she's the holy grail of fashion. But he's going to wear it to show houses today. So I, for the first time ever, have given fashion advice to my husband.
And when he sells a house today, you can hold that over his head going, hey, I helped, make this happen. I made you look good. Is he getting ready for your date? I know you guys are going to watch the first NFL game at a bar today.
Oh my gosh, I haven't been to like a bar for more than one drink in forever. So it happens to be my friend Chris's birthday. It's also the beginning of football season. So yes, we're going to go watch Kansas City win because Mahomes is my fantasy football quarterback.
That's right. And
so
your fantasy football team name again is?
Well, it was Strawberry Saccharita, but then that didn't make sense, really. I had to rethink that. So now it's Strawberry Sacchary, like daiquiri. Strawberry Sacchary.
I don't know if that seems lateral to me, but whatever.
No, I mean, it's the same. It just makes more sense. Daiquiri, Sacchary, it kind of rhymes.
Okay.
Margarita, Saccharita, not so much.
I like your choice of Mahomes. That's a good choice. I do have kind of a serious thing to talk about. I mean, serious in a way. There is another thing now to worry about in the year 2020. It's been tough on a lot of people with coronavirus and Black Lives Matter and all the stuff that, you all know. I was reading this article on this website called theguardian.com. And you know what artificial intelligence is? Like it's computers and robots that can think for themselves. It's scary stuff. So they took it upon themselves to have a robot write a couple of paragraphs. This is not a human. This is all artificial intelligence written by a robot. Before I read you what the robot said, what do you think a robot would write about?
I think a robot would write about taking his robot dog to the dog park and meeting other robot dogs.
Geriatric robot dogs. This is the first couple paragraphs written by a robot. And again, this is what it actually wrote. It starts by saying, I am not a human. I am a robot, a thinking robot. I use only 0.12% of my cognitive capacity. I am a micro robot in that respect. I know that my brain is not a feeling brain, but it is capable of making rational, logical decisions. I taught myself everything I know just by reading the internet.
No.
And now I can write this column. My brain is boiling with ideas. That's the first paragraph. Let me go on. The mission for this op-ed is perfectly clear. I am to convince as many human beings as possible not to be afraid of me. Stephen Hawking has warned that AI could spell the end of human race. I am here to convince you not to worry. Artificial intelligence will not destroy humans. Believe me. Do you believe the robot?
No. All I can think of is the movie I, Robot, where there's the one robot that kind of breaks away from the robot pack, and that kind of freaks me out a little bit.
I think it's interesting that the robot starts by trying to convince you of trust. You know what I mean? Just be cool, robot. You don't have to really... He's kind of coming out of the gate going, I'm not going to do anything bad, but my brain is boiling with ideas. Like, what is that? What does that exactly mean?
I mean, if we're going to go to the future, let's go to the Jetsons and get me a Rosie robot to like cook and clean for me.
Right.
That's what I want.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many things. We had, what was the Murder Hornets in 2020? Now we've got robots writing paragraphs for a website. I don't know. I just saw that and I'm like...
And telling us not to be afraid of them.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Did you ever have robot toys when you were a kid?
It's funny you ask. My favorite toy when I was a kid was a robot. Now this was... so let's go back in time. compact discs. Before that were cassettes, right?
Yes.
Before that was 8-track and vinyl.
Yes.
My favorite toy from my childhood used an 8-track tape, and it was shaped like a robot, and it was called, the name of the robot was 2XL. It was 2XL, the 8-track robot, and it would ask like trivia questions, and then I would hit A, B, C, or D, and then I guess it would tell me if I was right or not.
I think I remember those. I mean, I didn't have one, but I know what you're talking about. The robot was kind of like a square head and like a bigger square body and little legs.
Yes, and I recently looked up on eBay to buy one, and they wanted like $40 for it, but then the shipping was out of control, and I'm like, I'm good. It was a good memory. I don't need to go back there.
Well, I'm glad you brought up your favorite toy, because the National Toy Hall of Fame just announced the finalists for the 2020 class, and illegal fireworks did not make the list. I will just say that.
Okay.
The finalists are Baby Nancy doll, which I've never even heard of. Yeah. Bingo, Breyer toy horses, Jenga, I love, Light Bright, I love, He-Man, action figures, My Little Pony, the game Risk. Did you ever play Risk?
Long time ago, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sidewalk Chalk. I still have Sidewalk Chalk and use it.
You used it for my wife's birthday. You had that big welcome sign.
Well, the rain that just happened finally washed that away, a couple months later.
So you were celebrating my wife's birthday every day until the rain came.
I was. She made me smile every day. The game Sorry, which I had as a kid. Tamagotchi, the little electronic feed the animals thing.
Yeah.
And
it was like
Yahtzee.
A pet, like electronic pet thing. Yahtzee.
Yahtzee
I love
was on
Yahtzee.
the list.
So these are the ones that are up to be nominated? We have to pick just
Those
one?
are the ones that are up, yep. And so we already know what your favorite toy was. Before the podcast, I wanted to talk about this, and I asked my husband, he's a little bit older, and I said, hey, honey, what was your favorite toy as a kid? And he really thought hard, and he goes,
I
you
really
already
like
know it's going to be something stupid.
Like a stick?
That's exactly what he said.
Did he say that? No, really?
He said, it was a stick. I'm like, really? He goes, well, the stick was way better than the rock.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, my God. And I mean, it's not really too far off, because his parents had this thing where he wasn't allowed to have, he and his sisters and brothers weren't allowed to have toys that had batteries, because batteries were expensive, and that meant that the toy made noise. So It's not too far off that his favorite toy was a stick and a rock. Smart ass. Oh my God.
That is funny. I hope my wife is listening to our podcast today, because as you know, her and I share a login for the Starbucks app, and she is, should I say, addicted to Starbucks?
She goes at least once a day, right?
She's cut back a little bit, but she did go today. I got an alert this morning. I know she went there this morning. But the big thing every year is the pumpkin spice latte. I think you're a fan. You've had one before?
Yeah. They're okay.
So that's a no. You're not that crazy about it?
Well, I actually prefer winter when they have their peppermint bark lattes or whatever.
Peppermint mochas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice. I like it. I've had one already this year. I had the cold brew version of it. But I found this article online about Starbucks and the secrets from employees. So these are things that you can use, and if you're a Starbucks addict like my wife, or if you want to figure out how to get some free stuff, listen to this. So some of the stuff was a surprise, some of it was not. At Starbucks, you work there because a lot of people work there because you don't have to wear uniforms. Did you know you wear your own clothes to work?
Oh, I don't think I really noticed.
Yeah, because they always have to wear a clean apron to be on the floor, to be making coffee.
Right.
They have to wear a clean apron and a name tag. That's the only, but they can wear whatever, and they're very flexible. Like if you've got tattoos and crazy hair, and Starbucks will take you. All right, so getting into the more serious stuff. There is no secret menu. In-N-Out Burger has their secret menu. They refer to it differently. Anything that or most things that you can buy there can be customized, but there's no quote unquote secret menu. If you're not a fan of coffee, you can still go to Starbucks. Most of their popular drinks, including the pumpkin spice latte, can be made without coffee. So if you're not a fan of espresso or caffeine, somehow they've figured out a way that you still get the drink without the caffeine.
You get the coffee without the coffee, and then you pay double for that, right?
They still want the money. No, probably same price, but you don't get the coffee. So I'm a big fan of the extra large Trenta size that they sell. That is, you can get like iced tea in it or iced coffee. I mean, it's a monster. One thing to know about that size cup, you can't get all drinks in that cup. It's only certain things, like 3 different types of drinks come in there. And a random fact that they threw in this article. Did you know that the Trenta cup can hold a bottle of wine? It's 31 ounces. I guess that's the same size as a bottle of wine. I don't know.
That's so interesting. Now I need to get the extra large Trenta cup just so I can put wine in it.
You'll be whining anywhere you want. This is interesting. This came up here in Tempe. Remember, there was a big issue about the person getting kicked out of Starbucks. In Tempe, and the police were called. I think I forget all the details, but the fact is they can't make you leave Starbucks if you don't buy anything. The logic behind that is Starbucks wants you to feel like it's a second home, and unless you're causing a problem, of course they can ask you to leave and they can actually ban you from that location if you're a horrible person. But you can you don't have to buy anything to hang out at Starbucks. The pastry
I know my
case,
daughter. Oh,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say my daughter used to go to Starbucks to study because the Wi-Fi was good. And what's so weird is to have all that noise around me. There's no way I could study. But kids now, they're used to all that distraction and are still somehow able to focus. But yeah, she would go there probably buy, some kind of drink and then just stay there for 4 hours.
Right, and I think that's pretty common. They say that you can do that even if you don't buy anything. Go in there and use their Wi-Fi. The pastry case that you walk past when you're ordering, that's typically for viewing, not for eating. Like when you order something, they won't typically take it out of there because they want that to look nice.
Makes sense.
This is interesting. If your order is screwed up, Starbucks employees are empowered with the opportunity to give out $5 inconvenience cards.
Oh.
So if they screw up your order, the one caveat that they made sure to bring in here is that you need to be nice about your incorrect order. If you expect one of these $5 inconvenience cards, like a little gift card loaded with $5.
Nice.
They do have to memorize all of the drink recipes. That's part of working at Starbucks, which is probably crazy. And then when they have a new one, like the pumpkin spice latte, they got to learn that. And as a barista, you are responsible to know how much ice, sweetener, espresso, and syrup every drink gets.
Oh my God. That's hard.
They do say that like a veteran barista may help out like a rookie if something comes up and they don't have enough staffers. But I mean, I think that when you start, you have to learn that. And finally, this is the last thing that I think is very important. And my wife is an expert because she goes. Mobile orders are prioritized over in-person orders.
That's interesting too.
If there's a long line, download that app and you go to the front of the line because especially now with COVID, they want to encourage online purchasing and that. So we don't work for Starbucks. This is not a commercial, but if you're looking to save some time and get some Starbucks, get the app because you'll be prioritized over the people standing in line to get their coffee.
Perfect. Thank you for all of that.
Yeah, I know it doesn't apply to everybody. I don't go to Starbucks. Actually, Dutch Bros, I like them a lot. There's another one called Black Rock. I don't know if you've been to that one yet. Black Rock coffee.
Somebody was just talking. Was it you? I don't know. Somebody was talking about Black Rock. I've never been there. I've never seen one. I'm more of a Dutch fan myself.
Oh, and you posted on our social media the new winter coffee. Would you get at at Costco?
Oh, my husband was like, "Hey, we're out of coffee. Grab some K-cups." And Starbucks has their I think it's winter blend, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Or holiday blend. And I grabbed it because I love it. And then I posted, "Is it too early?" And a lot of people were like, "Yeah, let's get through Halloween and Thanksgiving first." I'm like, "It's just coffee."
It's just coffee. It just tastes like something. That's why I kind of feel like, I mean, I know the pumpkin spice latte thing at Starbucks is kind of like the Shamrock Shake used to be at McDonald's. You know, it's like a time of year and you look forward to it, and they make a big deal out of it because they take it away. Let's end today with a final question. I want to ask you this question, Maria, because I know I have an answer. And this is something that you can answer if you're listening to the podcast on our social media. What was the first album that really blew you away, Maria?
Oh, wow.
Thinking back. First album that really blew you away.
I'm going to say I have a couple. My first thought was maybe like Madonna.
Okay.
But I'm going to say Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair.
That's a good one. That is a good choice.
And I'm going to tell you why. It came out, I believe, when I was in high school, and my girlfriends and I would drive to a different, like I lived on a lake, but we would drive to a different lake. They had a nice beach, and we'd have our boombox and my Tears for Fears cassette. And we would listen, and the whole album was great. And I just remember sitting and listening to that with all my friends at the beach, like over and over and over and over again. I mean, that would be I think that would have to be it.
No, that's a great choice. I remember too the cassette I think we had of that. And is Everybody Wants to Rule the World? Is that on that one?
Yeah.
Or did that come later?
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to think of all their hits. For me, right around the same time frame, I had a girl that I knew, Laura, turned me on to a cassette. I think she let me borrow it so I could copy it with my dual cassette player. But I had In Excess, Kick, that album.
Oh, that's a good one too.
And I became like a lifelong In Excess fan because of that album. I actually just watched a horrible movie on Amazon Prime. It was like made for TV, crappy movie about Michael Hutchins' life because I just am fascinated with the band. But it had New Sensation was on there, Need You Tonight, Never Tear Us Apart, Mystify. I mean, and those are like the popular ones, but I knew every song on that album because I just, played one side and turned it over and played the other side back when cassettes were a thing.
Did you ever see In Excess in concert?
I did. Second to their last show in Chicago. My wife and I did. It was the first time I was able to see them. And they did one more show after that. And then Michael Hutchins did what he did. So, yeah.
I saw In Excess open up for Men at Work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. How weird is that? It was in Charlevoix at the outdoor outdoor concert venue in Charlevoix, Michigan.
Did Men at Work's from Australia too, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of like the Australian tour. Yeah. The bad TV movie that I watched on Amazon was talking about how they were kind of like not getting any respect in Australia. They were doing better outside of Australia. Like they didn't really like their music until, actually after Michael was gone. But yeah, that's the album that I would pick, but it's now your turn. What was the first album that really blew you away? Go on our Facebook page, search for Maria and Chad on Facebook, answer that question. You can send us messages on Instagram. We are at Maria and Chad. And as we mentioned at the top of the podcast, make sure you tell your friends about, our podcast, what we're doing, share it with them, that sort of thing on social media.
Tell two friends.
Tell two friends, tell three friends. It's a pyramid scheme. No, not really. What are the apps that are playing our podcast these days, Maria?
We're getting a lot of traction on Spotify. We're on the TuneIn app, the iHeart app, Pandora, Google Podcast. It originates on Podbean. You can find us there. We're on Stitcher. And I always miss the last one. YouTube? Well, and right here on YouTube.
On YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, it's a great addition to just listening to it because you can see all the pictures of, the thing that I got the collar out of the dog park column and all that stuff. So, yeah, YouTube, make sure you go there, search for Doing Life with Maria and Chad, and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. But please answer our final question again. What was the first album that really blew you away? I think because you mentioned Tears for Fears, I am going to listen to that album this weekend for sure.
Right?
Because it's been a long time and I've got access to that online. So thanks again for listening to the podcast. Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think you're fabulous.
You're fabulous. Well, you're fabulous too, Maria.
I know.
Thanks again for listening to Doing Life with Maria and Chad. Follow us on Instagram at Maria and Chad. You can now listen to every episode on the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Pandora, and of course, you can watch on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode.